Imagine this, you are signing into your favorite app, and instead of creating yet another password, you just do sign in with Google or log in with Microsoft. But have you ever wondered what magic happens behind the scenes? That magic is called OpenID Connect or OIDC. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about what is OIDC or OpenID Connect, what are the key components of OIDC, how does OIDC authentication work, what is the difference between OIDC and OAuth 2.0, and benefits of using OIDC authentication. Okay, so don't worry, it won't be a jargon heavy video. I will keep it short, and I will try to explain this in a very plain English so that you can explain it to your non-techie friends over coffee. Okay, so let's get started. So what's OpenID Connect or OIDC? So as per the definition, OpenID Connect is an identity authentication protocol that is an extension of Open Authorization OAuth 2.0 to standardize the process for authenticating and authorizing users when they sign in to access any of the digital services. So OIDC provides authentication, which means verifying that users who they say they are. OAuth 2.0, it was only authorizing which systems those users are allowed to access. I know it's that definition is too technical and too jargon heavy, but let's try to break it down in a simple terms. Okay, so think of OIDC as a digital ID card system on the internet. Okay, so it's a layer built on top of OAuth 2.0 that focuses on authentication. That means proving who you are, right? So OAuth 2.0 was only for authorization. That means it will give the app access or permissions to use some of your stuff. But when OIDC came into picture, it is adding authentication on top of, it's adding this layer authentication on top of OAuth 2.0. That means it's saying that you have to verify who the user is, right? So you are verifying the user's identity also, right? So this is what OIDC does behind the scenes. So it says before we give access, let's also be sure the user who they say they are, and then give the app some profile info or the access or permissions, whatever you want, right? Don't worry. Anyway, I'm going to explain how does OIDC authentication work so that you will have better picture at the end. So key components of OIDC, if I talk about, so obviously the user, it would be you who is trying to access the client or relying party, the app or website where you want to log into, the identity provider, again the login authority. It can be your Google, it can be your Okta, Auth0, Azure AD, anything, right? An authorization server, that is a part of IDP that handles login and the issue tokens. Okay, so here I have made one simple diagram. Basically, so how does OIDC authentication work? So that it will help you to understand this what happens behind the scenes, right? So let's see, I am the user and I am trying to access a website called Facebook. So I just go there, and then I get an option, right? So I have different options there, like it can be sign in with your, there would be different identity provider like Google, Microsoft, Auth0, etc, right? So there you log in with your username and password or MFA, right? That is something called single sign-on you do with. So once you do, log in with username or password, once it gets verified by the IDP, you get the token, right? You get the JSON based JWT token. So IDP sends back that JWT and access token to the app, right? So that app would be your Facebook, or like it sends that token, and then app reads the token and trust it, right? This user is verified. So let's see here how it happens. So I try to log into a website that supports OIDC, right? App says I don't check passwords, go ask my trusted identity provider. So your trusted identity provider can be anything, right? So you are redirected to IDP, that is Google, Microsoft, Auth 0, Okta, etc, right? So you log in there maybe with your username and password for the first time, or like maybe with your MFA, right? So the IDP says okay, you are verified, I will give you a token to prove it. So that IDP sends the ID token, that is a signed GWT, and possibly an access token back to the app. Okay, so that ID token, what it says, okay, this person is sim. So in my case, like if I'm trying to log in, so it will tell, and here is his email, here is the proof it's valid, right? And then the access token, this token lets you call APIs on behalf of sim, right? So that token will give you the access uh, to you know uh, basically access any other services on behalf of this particular user. So the app reads the ID token, trust it because it's signed by that identity provider, and logs you in without storing your password. So that's how under the hood or behind the scenes OIDC work, right? So now let's see the difference between OIDC and OAuth 2.0. As I talked about in like previously, that it's a built on top of OAuth 2.0, right? So the core difference is basically OAuth 2.0 that gives you the authorization. That means what can you do? But OIDC also provides authentication. That means it says who are you? Means what can you do, that is one separate thing, but I have to verify who are you as a person, who are you as a user. So then only it will let you do the things. So that's how, like, it's built on top of OAuth 2.0. So OAuth 2.0 only gives authorization, that means what can you do, what actions can you perform. But OIDC also says I am going to verify your identity as well. That means I am going to do authenticate you as well, who are you as a user or a person, right? So think of it like this, right? So imagine you are at a club, right? So OAuth 2.0 is like getting a wristband that lets you access certain areas of the club. Like you can access bar, you can access VIP section. The bouncer does not care who you are, just that you have permission to enter. That's all. That's how OAuth 2.0 behaves. But when OIDC came into picture, it is something like showing your government ID at the door so that they know exactly who you are before letting you in. That means they are verifying your identity beforehand, getting giving you any access to get in, right? So once they know, once they verify your identity, they can give you the wristband to access the stuff, that is OAuth. Like they can give you the permissions to access any other services, like if you're in a bar, so you can go to bar or VIP section if you're in a club, so like this. If I talk about another analogy, right? So let's think like you have a car and you give the key to a person, right? And the person just drives your car. That's how, like that you are giving permission to you're giving the permission to that person to drive your car. Now you think of when OIDC, like if you think in terms of OIDC, so now what you are going to do, you are going to first check their driving license. That means you are verifying the person's identity first before giving any key to that person. So once you verify the identity, that means you have checked their driving license. Once you are verified, then obviously you are giving the key to the person so that they can drive your car. That's how OIDC works, in real scenario. That means OIDC verifies your identity before giving any access, or before letting you do any of the things over there, right? So if I summarize in a simple terms, OAuth 2.0, that's only authorization. That means giving your app permissions to do this, to do some of the stuffs. That's all. It does not verify the identity of the user. But OIDC verifies the identity of the user beforehand giving any permissions to do any of the stuff. Okay. So let's see what are the benefits of OIDC authentication. Obviously, one is security. You don't have to store passwords in every app. Nowadays we log into, you know uh, tens of apps, many apps. We don't have to worry about creating a new passwords, remembering all the passwords for each of the app. We just do sign in with Google or Microsoft or any different identity providers. It just lets you in, right? So it's easy, it's easy and secure. You don't have to store many passwords. Single sign on, once one login to rule them all, right? Means you just have to do one sign in for all the other apps. Interoperability, interoperability, right? That means it works across multiple domains, apps and platforms. Profile data, apps get verified, name, email, etc without asking again. So these are the some benefits of having OIDC authentication. Okay, that's all for this video. I hope you liked it. If you have any suggestions, just let me know in the comment box. I would be happy to answer. Thank you all. Stay healthy, stay safe.